Did we just get some insight as to a rejected Shane Wright trade? The Seattle Kraken drafted Shane Wright 4th overall back in 2022. And by now, you probably know the story. The guy was supposed to go 1st overall. He had a crazy, exceptional status, OHL career, was a first-year player, way over a point per game, lost out on his 2nd season because of COVID, but inevitably was a superstar for Team Canada at the World Under-18s that year as a 17-year-old, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, it was a normal U18 year for him now that I think about it, but still, Shane Wright proved so many people right in regards to the overall talent and the skill set that he had. His draft-eligible season saw him put up 94 points, which was really good, but unfortunately it wasn't some of the same out-of-this-world, crazy 100-plus point metrics that we had seen out of guys like Connor McDavid, and so there was already a little bit of doubt as to whether or not Shane Wright would go 1, but for the most part, it was a weaker draft year in general, and he was the unanimous 1st overall pick by most of these outlets. Only difference was Bob McKenzie, who had him at number 2. Alas, he didn't go 1st, he didn't go 2nd, or even 3rd. He slipped all the way to 4 at the hands of the Seattle Kraken. And over the past few years, we've been chronicling Shane Wright and his development, particularly because I have a big Habs fan base following, and a lot of Habs fans had this idea that said, okay, well, if it wasn't Wright, it has to be Slafkovsky, but if they take Slafkovsky, we have to see what happens with Wright. Did the Montreal Canadiens make the wrong choice? Who really knows? We are a few years into his NHL career, and the guy's got 20 points in 54 games this season. The big decline from the 44 points in 79 games that he had last year. He is on pace for 31 points this year. So obviously, nothing is really going positive for Shane Wright in terms of his development and point production. Sure, he had some pretty good development years after being drafted. This first year that he had, I think, was honestly mastery from the Seattle Kraken to not play him enough in the NHL to give him AHL eligibility, also allowing him to get sent back down to the OHL and then get traded, go into a playoff series, and then come back to the playoffs for the AHL, all while getting a World Junior stint as the captain. That was a crazy year. But unfortunately, things have taken a little bit of a stall this season, and now the Seattle Kraken, who haven't really been noted for developing these young guys all too well, are potentially thinking about Wright in a trade. Take a look at what was tweeted out by NHL Rumor Report. This is what David Pagnotta of the 4th Period said on the Hello Hockey show a few days ago. Yes, I believe the Winnipeg Jets checked in on Shane Wright. I think, I don't know this definitely, but Cole Perfetti's name was brought up, and I don't think that's the fit that Seattle wants. They want to bring in a top-tier piece. Now, my 2020 hockey fan brain is going out there and saying, how dare you? What do you mean you want to bring in a top-tier piece? Cole Perfetti is supposed to be that. And this is what I mean about these NHL prospects and the OHL production and everything. When Shane Wright was draft eligible in 2022, he scored himself 94 points in 63 games. When Cole Perfetti was draft eligible in 2019-20, he had 111 points in 61 games. Absolutely bananas, crazy point production out of a guy that they once called the Wizard in the OHL, or was it the Magician? No, the Magician is Pavel Datsyuk. It was the Wizard. He was a guy that was so smart. I believe he won the Scholastic Award for getting like the highest GPA in high school, also in the OHL, but this is a guy who was one of the most productive CHL players in general, despite being a draft-eligible guy. And the next season, as we know, COVID struck the OHL in 2020-2021, so Cole Perfetti was one of the rare guys that actually got the opportunity to play AHL hockey at 18 years old, and he had 26 points in 32 games. That's really good for a guy who was double underage in the American Hockey League. Give it a few years, and Perfetti inevitably becomes a near 20-goal scorer with the Winnipeg Jets. Last year, he had 50 points in 82 games played, a very solid performance out of a guy who, at the time, was 23. But just like Wright, Cole Perfetti is on a little bit of a decline this season. He's on pace for 30 points over 68 games. He did miss some time there. The unfortunate part about it is, he plays for Winnipeg. And as we just mentioned in the last video, Winnipeg's kind of trash. So a lot of guys are not really producing all too much compared to what they normally would be capable of accomplishing. Cole Perfetti, I feel, especially at 24, is going through very similar growing pains like that. But this is what I'm thinking about as well. Yes, it's true, Shane Wright was this franchise-defining piece that we all thought was going to be a first overall top-tier center in the NHL in the same way that the other exceptional status OHL guys had become. John Tavares, Aaron Ekblad, McDavid. Okay, Aaron Ekblad was not a center, but still, you get what I mean. Shane Wright was put alongside of those names because of his exceptional status and because of his crazy draft year. Crazy, yes, but not as crazy as what Cole Perfetti did. And Cole Perfetti didn't even go second or third or fourth, he went 10th. He went 10th overall because, believe it or not, there actually was an OHL guy who outscored Cole Perfetti in that season as a draft eligible, and it was Marco Rossi. So obviously, there's a lot to like out of these OHL dudes in that time frame. This was an abnormally high year, I would say, for point production out of draft eligible dudes. If you go over to 2022, you look for Shane Wright. He's a little bit further down there. I mean, you take a look at it, he is in the 8th overall spot, but Wyatt Johnston, really nice NHL player now. Luke Evangelista, same thing. There's a lot to like out of the OHL in future years, but Cole Perfetti was just part of that very unique draft-eligible class. But I'm thinking about it if you compared the profiles of Perfetti and Wright 1-to-1, yes, it is true that Perfetti is older than Wright, but I don't want to say that their ceilings are so far apart that it's not worth it to discuss in a trade. I mean, we can use the Elite Prospects comparison tool to compare Shane Wright and Perfetti, or actually, no, I don't think we can. Can we compare players? Okay, we'll do Shane Wright on the first part, and then we will do Cole Perfetti on the second part. While it is true that these guys are going through different stages of their NHL development, you can see that right here, at age 21, Shane Wright is on pace for 31 points in 82 games. Cole Perfetti had 38 points. So, very similar. Age 22, Perfetti had 50 points. Age 23, Perfetti's on pace for 30. Again, a little bit of a decline there. Although Wright was more productive in terms of overall points at age 20 compared to Perfetti at that stage. But you should note that Perfetti played 28 fewer games, so yeah, they're pretty similar. Honestly, you're just moving 2 years into the future if you're getting on Cole Perfetti. I don't get this notion that's oh, you want to give us Cole Perfetti for Shane Wright? Nah, we don't want to do that. That's not enough. Top Reply says they want a top-tier piece for Shane Wright who has done nothing at the NHL level? Keep dreaming, LOL. Yeah, you're not getting a top-tier piece for Shane Wright. With that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Cole Perfetti, Shane Wright conversation? Do you think there is a reasonable trade idea between these two guys? If you were to compare them side by side, do they make sense as trade partners? And does it make sense to you that apparently Seattle might have said, nah, we don't want that guy? If Winnipeg was going out there and offering Perfetti, trying to get Wright, and Seattle was like, no, we don't want that kind of a guy, we want a big piece, how does that make you feel? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.